right, welcome back to another episode of the Founders Lounge. Glad I'm sticking to this. This is episode 15, I believe. And in today's episode, we're going to talk about how I overcame the fear of failure in business and why you should too. Um, so you guys may be asking, who are you? My name is Ethan J. Marketing specialist for a home services company, building a private networking group for content creators and my own consulting agency. I'm sharing my wins and losses with the internet and all for the main reasons of networking with cool people, educating the next group of entrepreneurs, and documenting my journey. Today, like I said, I want to talk about how I overcame a lot of the fear of failure, really a lot of internal work the past couple of years to move forward with what I want to do with my life. Things I want to talk about, how I lost my first business. We learn more from losing than winning, the fear of failure, and how that's socially conditioned, and delusional goals. And let's get to it. So jumping right into it, I lost my first business, my first real agency that I built in college. I think around 2023 is when I really lost control of it. Pretty much when I stopped doing it as well. I honestly lost it for a few reasons. These are the ones that I listed out. I think for one, I failed to build like a real client acquisition system. I kind of knew how to get clients, at least locally, where I was knocking on doors and basically asking realtors and car dealerships and mortgage loan officers around town and go to networking groups and like pitching my services. I kind of understood that process, but what I'm going into now and what I've been learning the past couple of years is kind of how to build like funnels and how to actually take it step by step, page by page in terms of finding a lead, getting them through your funnel, signing them up for a book call and hammering them down with information in between the time they book and the time they actually get on the call so that they know a lot about your services and what you do and what you offer. None of these things I really knew how to do in college. Obviously, I was, 22, 23 when I graduated. So it was really hard for me to learn these things and put it together. I just kind of knew the gritty way of like getting around and setting clients that way. The highest I ever got the agency to when I was pitching ads to local services was up to like $6,000, $8,000 a month, something like that. And then the highest I ever took it in 2023 when I was pitching AI services was like $22,000 in 1 month. But I could never really consistently keep clients on a monthly basis on a retainer or do a rev share program where I could keep them on as a client with or without profits in 1 month and we would just split profit share. That's really what I want to get into these days. But definitely charged too little, worked in the wrong market. Again, I think that local services is a good industry to get into if you know your way around real estate, plumbing, HVAC, insurance, MLOs, stuff like that. If you know your way around that, then like that's pretty good. That's a good industry to get into to pitch agency services. But for me, I just realized I don't really want to talk to people who you have to pitch on how social media works. I think the creator economy kind of fixes that problem for me. And it's also, I just think it's a cool marketplace to get into because the fact that I'm a firm believer in education, but I do think that the current education system is a little bit harder to succeed in. I think that the creator economy has, I wouldn't say the creator economy has the tools right now to create a sustainable competition for traditional education, although I do think it's getting pretty close to having a system where we can start chipping apart like this whole educational system that not just the United States, but the rest of the world is like propped on. I think the creator economy is on the cusp of doing that. And I really want to be there when that happens. And I want to provide marketing services to those who are creating info product businesses that can help that transition of like the traditional education system to having more of a decentralized platform to learn and to earn and to figure out a different route aside from just getting a degree just because you were told to. I just definitely think the creator economy has that kind of pull. So want to keep chugging along and helping that and providing agency services towards that. So I also think we learn more from losing than winning. I feel like that's not really sage advice. It's kind of something that a lot of people already know. But I think failure forces you to reflect and adapt. I think the past couple of years I've spent outside of the business. I've just been learning a lot about marketing, retention marketing in general, also funnels and building offers and stuff like that. And so I'm building more of my skills. And then the more I've stepped away from the business, the more I've really thought about like what I want to do, what I want to put together, what I learned from last time, the lessons I just mentioned in the previous section. I definitely that's I definitely think that's helped me a lot into putting together the kind of person I am today and going back into business here shortly with the things I'm building in terms of my consulting agency and also the Founders Lounge, which is the private networking group. I definitely think that I've learned a lot in the past 5 to 6 years of being in business, also picking up new marketing skills and just building myself up too as a professional. I feel like I had a lot of growing to do. I'm kind of glad that I came into the business world pretty young. I started selling shoes and started my first photography business. I think I was like 19, and I definitely learned a lot through this journey. I'm 28 now, and I've learned a lot. I picked up a lot of things. I met a lot of people, but the failures in the whole journey, I think, has like better morphed me into somebody who I think now I have the chops to really put something together, which I'm really excited about. And also, just mentally, I'm in the right space to start putting things back where it was, and really learning how to pick up clients again and service them, and then building a business from there. I'm really excited about this process. I learned a lot in the past couple of years, like I said, but just now that I feel like I'm myself again, I feel like I'm back on my own 2 feet. I really do think that I can put something together um, for the long run. I think it's something that I really want to do for the rest of my life. I definitely am excited about where I am, and that's all thanks to looking back and reflecting and adapting. And I wrote down here, winning early could have been a blessing or a lesson. I really don't know at this point, but I know there's a lot of kids like on Twitter, the WAP ecosystem. If you guys know what that is, people playing school games, people who follow like Alex Ramosi and building their own startups, their own businesses, service-based businesses, whatever the case may be. I know there's a lot of them that are really young, at least younger than I am, and they're winning a lot. And I had a bit of a taste of that, but like I just didn't know how to sustain it for the long run. And I'm really excited about the future of online business, and I think that a lot more high schoolers are going to get into it. I think that people who are in college are going to get into it, especially with AI and how easy it is now to have a processing system like WAP be behind you to support your entrepreneurial journey. I really do think it's going to get a lot easier. At this point, there's no value in me looking back at what I could have done differently when I was like 21, 22, and the different business moves I could have made just 2 years ago, 3 years ago. There's really no reason for me to do that anymore, and just really focus on the future, at least in the next 12 to 18 months of wrapping up version one of this new chapter that I'm in. Um, I'm getting really close to, like, I launched the Founders Lounge, so that's good. But the consulting agency and the packages that I'm building, it's going out here pretty soon. So super excited about that. But I couldn't have done all of this without reflection over the past 2 years of my life. Um, and now I'm just ready to adapt and ready to keep going. Let's see. The fear of failure is socially conditioned. I did a Instagram or Snapchat story, I can't remember which one, about how we need to brainwash ourselves to enjoy starting new things. And I think I said that because this whole summer I've really just brainwashed myself to picking up a new skill. I used to be a ClickFunnels guy, but now I'm in Go High Level, and like now I'm learning the ropes of Go High Level and the ecosystem, the community, the features, and what businesses can be built off that platform. It's a lot more features than I was used to at ClickFunnels, and all the different like I feel like the best way to describe it is just ClickFunnels plus all like basically Zapier, Calendly, and all these other things that made an agency business in like 2021 or 2022 when I was running the agency, all under one roof. And it's cool, but it's definitely taking me all summer. And when I say summer, I mean like June, July, to pick up the skill set, build things on there that I think is going to make sense down the road. So I just basically brainwashed myself to think that this is going to be fun. This is going to be good for me and for the long run. And if it's something that I want to do when I'm 45, then I might as well do it now. when I'm 28 or just turned 28, because I did this right after my birthday. And yeah, I think that you have to brainwash yourself to look dumb, to be fresh at something, to not really know and not be professional at something, to correct yourself on the right path. And I think a lot of people are afraid to do that because society does its best to keep us in track of what serves it the best. And that includes the traditional route of doing, what you're taught to do, and not looking dumb while doing it, because like it's just, yeah, I don't really know how to wrap up that thought, but I do think that society has a huge role in you not doing what you want to do because you will look dumb and not be a professional right away, and it's going to take you months, weeks to be good at something. I still don't consider myself good at funnels or GHL for sure. I'm not good at that, but I do think that I'm on the right path to building a skill set that will then, I think, be worth a lot more in about, 6 months from now or 8 months from now, when I actually have results and I'm helping other people do GHL builds and stuff like that, which is not what the consultancy packaging is. But I think with my extensive background in marketing and the skill set of building funnels and the skill set of running email automations and creating offers and stuff like that, I think all of that is going to be worth, like, together as a package is going to be worth a lot down the road. And and if your why is strong, the judgment doesn't really matter. And that's never really mattered to me, whether I'm judging myself in terms of my failures or my parents or my family or my friends. Like, it's never really like mattered to me what people think about my situation, and like the things that I lost, the things that I gained in the past 2 years, 3 years of being in business. Like, I don't care at all, because I know that now, like, what I actually want to build with my life, and that is, one is to make education as accessible as possible, to the rest of the world, but mostly in the Philippines, where I want to build schools and like help kids read and write, because I think there's a future in that. Two, I just want to build something with my own hands, that I can attach my last name to, for it to really matter. And those are the two whys that I have. And I believe so strongly in my why because I feel aligned spiritually. It's aligned with my character. And it's just something that the profession itself, communication itself, advertising itself has been a profession that I've been really interested in. I went headfirst into it in college, and even like outside of college curriculum, I was picking up things on my own that I really, really thought was going to be helpful for myself and for my career in advertising and marketing, and communication. Yeah. I mean, I have a pretty strong why. And so I think with that, like, has helped me really chug along and like not care about what anybody else thinks about my decisions. And that's something that I just wanted to pass along. Delusional goals over realistic setting. I'm not sure that this applies to everybody. You need a little delusion to try something big. I definitely believe in that for sure. I think that with what I'm trying to accomplish, with the little resources I first started with in college, you need to be. Some people would say I'm delusional. Some people would say I'm delusional, even just off the fact that I work a lot. Uh, on Mondays through Thursdays, it's really hard to get in contact with me just off the fact that I'm working literally from like 8 to like 9:30 at night, with breaks in between lunch break and dinner break. But I'm literally in front of a computer screen from like 8:15 to probably like 9:30, something like that. And that takes a little bit of delusion to keep going when you don't see any results. But in my mind, it's like I'm building something now that in 6 to 8 months, maybe a year from now, will make sense. Building the right assets like the landing pages, the trainings, the digital products, info products, even like on Twitter, like connecting with people in the info space, connecting with people who are content creators on TikTok, on Instagram Reels, like extending a handshake as much as I can, even in person and or in online, all in the delusion of like building something big. And I'd changed the narrative of like winning in the short term because I want to win in the long term. That requires not actually little delusion, like a lot of delusion. And I'm okay with that. I just genuinely don't care because I just don't think I have anything to lose. Like, I could always stay at my job or I could find another job. But the chances of me actually living the life I want to live, I, for once in my life, feel like I have unlimited at bats at that, and I'm up at the plate, and I'm gonna keep trying every single day. If I can build something that can go and run and grow on its own, like I'm gonna keep swinging. And being too realistic has actually kept me small for years because, like, I got the degree, I got the job, I got multiple jobs, and then I got this job, and that's all good and dandy. And I just know that on top of this, there's something else I want to build, and I just can't sit idle without it itching at my brain for a long time. And even when I first got comfortable about a year ago, I was like, yeah, I'm chilling. Like, I really don't have a lot of things that I'm like nervous about or have anxiety about. At the back of my mind, I kept thinking to myself, well, now's probably the time to go harder and build the business, build something that I've always wanted to build when I was in college. And yeah, I mean, I want to wrap up this thought by like just thinking to you guys, do not go at business overthinking things. Be okay with being a beginner and learn as much as you can while failing. As long as, you're calculating for how you're going to pay your bills, um, credit card, stuff like that, rent, AC, electricity, I mean. Um, as long as you can calculate that and manage that risk, like stay in the pocket of being able to keep going when you're not seeing a lot of results. I've sat in a chair where I've seen results, I've closed the deals and like lost everything. And like now I'm in this position where I'm not seeing results for a long time, because I'm playing more of a rev share deal kind of game or consultancy kind of game. And so I'm okay with not seeing results for a long time as long as I'm building the system correctly, to run the business, when the time comes. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I guess didn't notice like this isn't my room. My room is actually really messy right now. I'm doing laundry. Didn't want to. I wanted to record something today and edit it tonight and then get it up and going like tomorrow or tonight. And yeah, I just didn't want to not make a video. I want to make a video every week and at least maybe once a week. I'm gonna try to do like two or three every week. Because I found a system for this. And so yeah, you'll be seeing a lot of me. Okay, bye.